Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today's story dives deep into a dangerous and chilling development unfolding right in the heart of Europe. Russia is being accused of launching a shadow war against Germany, not with tanks or missiles, but through covert operations, disinformation, sabotage, and political manipulation. What's really going on behind the scenes? Why is Germany suddenly at the center of Moscow's secret campaign? Let's uncover the truth behind what many are calling one of the most sinister operations in modern Europe. In recent months, German intelligence agencies have been on high alert. They've detected a growing wave of Russian activities, cyberattacks, espionage, and even possible acts of sabotage on critical infrastructure. This isn't just the usual spy game, it's something far more coordinated. Germany, as Europe's largest economy and one of Ukraine's main supporters, has become a prime target for Russian retaliation. Moscow knows that if it can weaken Berlin, it can destabilize all of Europe. The first warning came from the cyber front. German government systems and energy companies reported unusual patterns of cyber intrusions. Experts later traced many of these attacks to Russian, linked hacker groups such as Fancy Bear and Sandworm, both believed to be operating under the Kremlin's direct orders. These cyberattacks weren't random, they were strategic, aimed at communication networks, defense ministries, and energy suppliers. The goal was clear: gather intelligence, spread confusion, and test how quickly Germany could respond. But the cyberfront was just the beginning. In April, German authorities arrested several individuals accused of plotting sabotage operations on behalf of Russian intelligence. One of them was a dual citizen allegedly planning to attack military bases used to support Ukraine. Another cell was discovered near Berlin, where members were reportedly preparing to damage railway infrastructure used for NATO logistics. These arrests confirmed that Russia's reach wasn't just digital, it was physical, embedded deep inside German territory. As the investigation unfolded, what shocked analysts most was how organized these operations were. Each cell operated independently with minimal contact, using encrypted communication and coded messages. It was classic intelligence work, the kind the KGB mastered during the Cold War. But this time, the battlefield wasn't divided by ideology. It was about influence, disruption, and power. Russia's motive is not hard to understand. Since the invasion of Ukraine, Germany has been one of the leading European nations supplying weapons, humanitarian aid, and financial support to Kiev. Berlin's decision to send Leopard tanks and train Ukrainian soldiers made Moscow furious. For Putin, Germany's stance symbolized Europe's defiance, and so began a campaign designed to intimidate, weaken, and fracture the country's resolve. Disinformation became another key weapon. Across social media, pro-Russian narratives began flooding German platforms. Fake news pages claimed that Ukrainian refugees were committing crimes or draining German resources. Others spread conspiracy theories that NATO was preparing to drag Germany into a full-scale war. These psychological operations aimed to sow division, spark protests, and erode public trust in the government. Russian propaganda networks like RT and Sputnik, though banned in the EU, still managed to reach audiences through Telegram channels and mirror websites, amplifying these messages. At the same time, Moscow has been exploiting Germany's internal weaknesses. The German economy, already under stress from energy shortages and inflation, faces growing public frustration. Russian intelligence tries to fuel this anger, supporting fringe political movements on both the right and far, left parties that call for lifting sanctions and restoring ties with Russia. The Kremlin understands that it doesn't need to invade to cause chaos. It only needs to divide and destabilize. Intelligence officials now warn that Germany is facing a hybrid war, a conflict fought not on battlefields but through sabotage, cyber warfare, and psychological manipulation. The goal isn't to defeat Germany militarily but to make it doubt itself, to paralyze decision-making and reduce support for Ukraine. In other words, Moscow wants to make Germany fight itself from within. One of the most disturbing discoveries came from an intercepted Russian communication. It revealed discussions about targeting energy pipelines and power grids in Germany. Although there's no evidence yet of a successful attack, the memory of the Nord Stream explosion still haunts Europe. That mysterious blast in 2022, which destroyed gas pipelines under the Baltic Sea, remains unsolved, and many in Berlin suspect Russia's hand in it. The idea that Moscow could strike Germany's energy infrastructure again isn't far-fetched. Even more alarming are the reports of Russian spies infiltrating key institutions. Earlier this year, a senior German intelligence officer was arrested for allegedly passing classified NATO documents to Russia. This betrayal shocked the security community. It showed that despite Germany's vigilance, Moscow's networks remain deeply rooted in Europe. For decades, Russian agents have cultivated contacts within political, military, and business circles, a legacy of Soviet-era espionage that never fully disappeared. Now, these networks are being reactivated. Russian operatives use shell companies, cultural organizations, and online forums as cover for intelligence gathering. Their targets include not only government secrets, but also industrial technologies, military blueprints, and energy strategies. Every bit of stolen data strengthens Moscow's hand in this shadow conflict. Meanwhile, Germany's leaders are trying to stay calm but firm. Chancellor Olaf Scholz has warned that any foreign interference will be met with consequences, yet he faces mounting pressure from both allies and critics. Many Germans fear that their country is becoming a battleground in a secret war they didn't choose. The fear is not just about Russia's tactics, but about how much damage has already been done psychologically, economically, and politically. Western intelligence agencies, including those from the US and the UK, are now working closely with Germany to counter these threats. Joint task forces have been formed to track Russian spies, monitor cyber networks, and dismantle propaganda campaigns. Yet, officials admit it's a constant game of cat and mouse. Every time one network is shut down, another one emerges. The shadow war isn't just fought in secrecy. It's visible in public debates, media narratives, and political speeches. Russia's influence campaign has managed to shape discussions about energy policy, NATO commitments, and even Germany's role in Europe. It's psychological warfare at a national level, a battle for hearts and minds. Some experts believe that this is only the beginning. As winter approaches, energy prices will rise again, and Russian propaganda will exploit every hardship. Online networks will spread panic, fake protests may erupt, and pressure will mount on Berlin to compromise with Moscow. The question is whether Germany can stay united under such relentless pressure. For Vladimir Putin, destabilizing Germany serves multiple purposes. It weakens the European Union, divides NATO, and sends a message that Russia can still strike fear without firing a single bullet. It's warfare adapted to the modern age, invisible, deniable, but devastatingly effective. However, Germany is not defenseless. Recent reforms have strengthened cybersecurity, and new counterintelligence measures are being implemented. The government has increased funding for digital defenses, and cooperation within NATO's intelligence sharing framework is stronger than ever. Berlin has also launched campaigns to educate the public about disinformation, encouraging citizens to verify sources before believing or sharing online content. But despite these efforts, the sense of unease remains. People are beginning to realize that modern wars are no longer fought only on the front lines. They are fought in our devices, our conversations, and our perceptions of truth. That's what makes this shadow war so terrifying it turns ordinary citizens into unwitting participants. In small towns and major cities across Germany, police have reported mysterious drone sightings near power stations and military facilities. While some are harmless, others remain unexplained. Security experts suspect reconnaissance operations, possibly testing defenses or mapping out potential targets. These incidents, though minor on their own, paint a larger picture of ongoing surveillance and planning. The more this shadow war unfolds, the clearer it becomes that Russia's objective isn't quick victory, it's erosion of unity, trust, and security. Bit by bit, Germany's confidence in its institutions is being tested. The Kremlin understands that if a democracy begins to doubt itself, it becomes vulnerable from within. This strategy isn't new. Russia has used similar tactics in the Baltics, in France, and even in the United States. But Germany is special. It's the economic engine of Europe, the link between East and West, and the symbol of a united Europe. If Russia can destabilize Germany, it can send shockwaves across the entire continent. Still, there's growing awareness. Politicians, journalists, and citizens are beginning to connect the dots. Each cyber attack, each fake news campaign, and each political scandal is no longer seen as isolated. They are part of a pattern, a deliberate strategy of manipulation and control. Germany's challenge now is not just defending itself, but adapting to a new kind of warfare that knows no borders. As the conflict in Ukraine continues, this shadow war will only intensify. Every military success for Kiev becomes a reason for Moscow to expand its covert efforts elsewhere. Germany, as a central player in European politics, will remain a target, but with awareness, cooperation, and resilience, the country can resist the pressure and expose the truth. In the end, this is not just Germany's battle. It's a warning to the world that modern warfare isn't about occupation, it's about influence. The lines between peace and war are no longer clear. When information becomes a weapon and trust becomes the battlefield, every society must decide how to defend itself. So as we look at Russia's sinister actions over Germany, one thing is certain: this shadow war is already here. The question now is whether the free world can shine enough light to end it before it's too late. Thank you for watching. If you found this video insightful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more in-depth analyses of global affairs. Stay informed, stay aware, and see you in the next video.